Welcome to the April 2025 edition of Upfront and Real, the video podcast brought to you by Ohio Cooperative Living Magazine and Ohio's Electric Cooperatives. I'm Karen Whitney, Director of Communications. With me, Craig Grooms, our President and CEO. And thank goodness we're in April. You look outside.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice day today.
Some sun. We all thankful for this time of year when we think maybe winter's going out, spring and summer's coming. But we're also thankful in April in our industry for line workers who are out there doing the job of keeping the lights on, keeping the AC going.
Right.
Why do you think that just that particular position has a national day of appreciation?
Well, that's a good question. There are a lot of difficult and challenging jobs out there. Not every one of them have a dedicated day to celebrate their existence, right? And I think it's the fact that electricity is so fundamental to our lives. It's so important to the economy. You know, without reliable electricity, it causes a lot of stress. It creates a lot of havoc in our everyday lives. And so the fact that, you know, we have this dedicated line of work, the men and women who are line workers, and the fact that they provide this essential service to us, it just makes us more appreciative, I think. Not to take away from any other job, but you know, you think of these major storms that we've had, whether they're hurricanes or tornadoes or severe thunderstorms, and the fact that we're reliant on these folks to get our electricity service back online is just a way for us to, I think, reflect an appreciation and show that appreciation to them. I would also like to say, you know, we operate several power plants, and so I don't believe there's a power plant operator day, but I would like to recognize and acknowledge the importance that they are in this line of business. They operate in all weather conditions, 24/7. So in partnership with line workers, you know, I appreciate the power plant operators as well.
Yeah, you don't have any lines with power to repair.
Exactly,
If
you
don't
have to have something flowing through the lines.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you think about how much, you know, it's such an artery to the economy and to our daily lives out there. And I did some digging too on this. It was in 2013 that Congress dedicated April 18th as Line Worker Appreciation Day, and that was following all of the work they did to restore power after Hurricane Sandy in 2012. I didn't realize that. Yeah,
I was not aware of that. I didn't realize that was the impetus behind the day, but you think of all the severe weather that we've had, all the major storms, and again, it's a renewed appreciation for what they do for us.
Yeah, certainly. You know, and I think about the impact you know, that we'd experience if we didn't have those men and women, you know, choosing this line of work, because it can be dangerous. Granted, safety is an utmost priority.
It is.
But it is electricity. And, you know, what if we had to go without electricity days, weeks, years, you know, send us back in time? How do you think that would really impact our economy, our lives?
Well, you know, you say you hate to think of that, and I hate to think of it as well. It's such a fundamental part of our life, right? It's a huge reason why we have the standard of living that we do. And we see examples of unreliable electricity service around the world, and I would hate to think what it would be like to live through that. So, you know, again, putting ourselves into the position of people in other countries that may have a lot of challenges and they don't have reliable electricity, and you see how difficult their lives are, I would hate to think what that would mean for us. And that's why it's so important for us to take politics out of the business. What does it take to have reliable service, right? We need an adequate number of line workers to respond to major storms. We need adequate supply of electricity. Take all of the politics out of it and really just focus on what's important to making sure we have this fundamental essential service.
Yeah, because I've heard stories of other countries that ration power.
Yeah, you know, it's awful to think about.
You get power on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mean, I can't imagine doing that. Well, and I know you and I were happy that spring is here, living in Ohio. You know, the temperature is much more tolerable in the spring, you know, but it can still be a really active time. We always think of winter and winter storms and being out in the cold, restoring power, but this can be the beginning of a pretty busy season too, right?
It is, yeah. So we're starting to see the start of what we would call maybe tornado season, or at least severe thunderstorm season. And really, for consumers, for our co-op members, it's important to be aware of your surroundings like any other thing, right? So, you know, if you see hazardous conditions related to the electric facilities, report those to your electric co-op. If you see trees that are touching power lines, report that to your electric co-op. It's really just being aware. and recognizing that severe weather could mean we all might go without electricity for a number of days, and so prepare for that disruption in your life. And just, if you see something, say something, let your local co-op know that you have some concerns.
Yeah, preventative's always better,
Exactly.
and being prepared. I think about having that go kit, as I like to call it. If you do have power outage for, days,
Right.
you've got some food, you've got water, you've
Exactly.
got phone cords to charge your phones. Okay. Anything else you might suggest to people that they can do around the house as they're doing spring cleaning, getting out in the yard for the first time to perhaps prevent those outages?
Well, trees is a big cause of power outages, and there's only so much residential homeowners can do on their own. But it's really take a look around. Do you see anything that appears to be out of place? If it looks dangerous, call your local co-op. Let them handle it. But it's really just being aware. There's, not everyone's going to have a backup generator. It's good to have essential supplies on hand. If you have some life conditions in the home where you need reliable electricity, make sure you have arrangements for that. But otherwise, it's just being aware and then reporting to your local co-op if you do see something that's out of place.
Yeah, and that's real important. Don't try to do something on your
Exactly.
own. You never know if a tree could be energized.
Right.
Okay. All right, Craig, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you
Thank you.
talking with us today, and we're all happy that spring is here. And we certainly appreciate you watching this edition of Upfront and Real. If you would like to show your appreciation for line workers in Ohio, you can spend an extra $20 next time you register your car at the Ohio BMV. Ask for the Supporting Fallen Line Workers license plate. Part of the funds from your purchase will go to a fund dedicated to helping the families and children of line workers who've lost their lives on the job.